Welcome to the moving and storage industry. This is a service industry. We do not create a product, but provide a valuable service. In the United States alone, approximately 9 million people will relocate this year using the services of a professional mover. This video will cover what is involved in getting started in the business through our 4 pillars of success. The first pillar is professionalism. This means being prepared to face the challenges that occur during the course of a relocation. Understanding situations have far-reaching implications on customer service, security, and safety for all those involved, making the right decisions as well as understanding company policy and how all these factors tie together to create a successful move. Pillar number 2 is presentation. Your outward appearance plays a big part in the customer's perception of your skills and professional traits. First impressions are critical. We will immediately be subject to a customer's opinion the moment we knock on the door. It is important to understand that the customer has already received sales material with information and photos depicting our services, and will have some preconceived ideas as to how our vehicles and field personnel should appear. Pillar number 3 is proficiency. Basic skills and how well you master them will be a determining factor in how far you will advance in the industry. An ability to learn must be combined with a willingness to do so. All the skills needed to advance should be readily available to anyone wishing to advance. Today's lesson is the first step. There are many more. You should embrace the learning process. Pillar number 4 is potential. The moving industry offers rapid advancement for those willing and able to grasp the training involved. The lesson plan in this video is directed towards the new worker learning the basics. Further lesson plans are available that cover loading, driving, and paperwork skills, as well as specific situational training for office and industrial moves, as well as warehouse storage procedures. You have the potential to quickly grow from helper to driver to lead person, as well as be an owner-operator local contractor or progress upwards into management. Depending upon your skill and abilities, combined with a willingness to learn, you can achieve tremendous gains in the industry in a relatively short period of time. So, let's get started. We'll begin with some basic guidelines that apply to the moving industry. Remember, we are going into the homes of strangers, handling theirs and their families' personal items. This can raise their stress level dramatically. What can we do to lower this tension? When you are meeting someone for the first time, here are some 10 basic rules to keep in mind. Number 1. Be clean and well-groomed. This means taking a bath every day, keeping your hair combed, and at company guideline appearance. No purple or orange hair, and most companies frown on the mohawk look. Uniforms should be clean and presentable, with no holes, and shirts should be tucked in. Guidelines for footwear include rubber, non-scuffed soles with proper support, and correct colors if required. You'll walk about 8 miles in an 8-hour day, so wear something comfortable. Number 2. Be on time. As a new worker in the industry, you will never be on a job by yourself. So when you're late, you're holding up someone else or you're getting left behind. Either way, operations are disrupted, and there are people whose job it is to make sure operations run smoothly. A customer has been promised a start time, and everyone is on the clock waiting. Number 3. Cover all questionable tattoos and remove piercings. While body art and piercings may be fashionable today, please remember that style is a statement or an opinion, and not all customers may share your opinion. Our goal is to lower tensions, not raise them. Also, piercings can snag on the nylon threads in the pads, which can lead to them being yanked or torn out. This does not present a professional image to the customer. Refrain from rings, watches, and other jewelry on the job, which can lead to injury or be simply damaged or lost. Number 4. Watch your language and no negative comments. As conversation goes, the driver or lead person should be the main source of communication with the customer. Topics involving race, religion, sex, or sexual lifestyles, politics, even sports teams can rub the customer the wrong way. You may think you know a customer, but you don't. Never argue with a customer. Never bring up negative comments regarding where they live or where they are moving to. You know nothing of what their situation is. This is a truly important point to remember, as many movers will take for granted that they understand the customer, and they do 90% of the time. It's the 10% that will get you in trouble. Number 5. Refer customer questions to the lead person. This is their job. They make the decisions, and they have to live with their decisions. Some get downright upset when their helpers start making promises to customers. Lead people may be aware of situations you are not aware of. It's best to let them do their job. You'll get there yourself soon enough. Number 6. Nothing illegal, unsafe, or unprofessional. As a new worker, you need to know some basic rules about where we work in a residence. We work only in areas where it is safe to do so. The 3 conditions required are, number 1, you must be able to stand up straight. Number 2, you must have a solid floor or footing. And number 3, you must have light. We do not go up on roofs or down in crawl spaces. We do check out attics if we need to. Remember, you are in charge of your own safety. Don't let others influence you in regards to safety. If in doubt, see your lead person. If you're still in doubt, contact operations. Number 7, be polite. You are a guest. We are performing a service, but we are still a guest in the customer's house. Treat them with the same respect you would expect if the roles were reversed. When a job starts, customers are referred to as Mr., Mrs., and Miss. Most customers do not expect this level of formality and will ask you to simply use their name. That's good. You're getting them to relax a little. The sooner this happens, the better. Also, we ask for permission to use the restroom. Nobody ever has refused, but there may be issues in the plumbing that may require you to use a specific restroom, or the other bathrooms have already been cleaned. The same goes for water. Always ask the customer for permission to use the sink to fill your water container or wash your hands. It is a common courtesy. You are a guest. Number 8. Be prepared to find anything. This is one of the most interesting things about our job. We deal with people, all kinds of people, and one of our objectives is to maintain a sense of privacy. When you find something odd you may not know what to do with, get your lead person involved. If it isn't a safety or legal issue, pack it, stash it, get it out of sight. If it is a legal or safety issue, let the lead person deal with the customer. Stay out of it. You are going to eventually find some embarrassing items. After all, your customer is human. Something you may never see but need to be prepared for is a plant or bait, meaning a customer will leave items out in an attempt to see if they will be taken. If they are, the customer will report it to your company, and that's where the trouble begins. If you should come across jewelry, cash, drugs, or any other item that seems like it shouldn't be there, go get your lead person. Don't touch it. Don't even think about it. The customer has already taken photos and written down serial numbers on cash. This could be a free move for them, and you could lose your job. It does happen. Setups or plants are an age-old story. Don't fall for it. Number 9. Be prepared for a long day. Every job is different, and in peak season, you may perform one or more jobs a day. It is important that you bring a lunch, as well as anything else that you may need for a minimum of 10 hours. Many workers carry a larger lunchbox, and many also bring extra socks and an extra t-shirt to switch into later in the day. If we go into the night, we'll figure out how to cover dinner if we have to. It is very important to stay hydrated, so carry a container to drink water out of. Remember, the trucks we use don't fit into just anywhere. And most companies have policies in regards to extra stops. Drivers put their jobs in jeopardy in most cases and prefer not to assume that kind of risk just so you can buy cigarettes or soda pop. Finally, number 10. No smoking in residences, trucks, or the warehouse. Smoking is a touchy subject nowadays. Those who smoke may feel they are unfairly being singled out. And while they may be right, there is sufficient protocol in public or customer service to establish non-smoking areas. Most carriers will have a designated smoking area at the warehouse, generally 100 feet from any warehouse door. Smoking is discouraged in the vehicle of most carriers, and is only allowed at a residence in the street, in front of the truck. Smokers are required to police their cigarette butts and dispose of them in a proper receptacle. Smoke breaks are only called by the lead person. Our performance will be rated at the end of the job, possibly more than once by a customer who will observe you in regards to these 10 areas for one day. It is their perception that will determine your review and your agent's performance score. They are based on the professionalism and presentation pillars. Learn these rules and adjust your behavior accordingly. As you grow into them, your survey scores will improve, and you will see increased tip activity. Ask your lead person or operations manager about tips. We'll now discuss the foundational pillars for developing a successful career in the moving industry. The presented points will be critical in determining your skill set and abilities. Never slide anything across floors or furniture without pads or padding. Sliding furniture or cartons across the floor can cause significant damage. Should the need arise, pick up the piece and move it. If the piece requires more than one person to move and you do not have help, move it later. You don't want to damage floors, the legs of the furniture, and most importantly, yourself. If it is imperative that it be moved now, then go get help. At delivery, keep cartons off furniture. Cartons can pick up rocks, pebbles, and grit from the ground during the course of the move. Setting cartons on furniture puts the furniture at risk of scratching or gouging due to sliding these cartons across the furniture. If it is absolutely necessary, pad the furniture. Do not leave unstable items standing up outside. Items such as bookcases, mattresses, grandfather clocks, or any other narrow item should not be brought outside until they are ready to be loaded. If they must be brought out before this, they should be fully padded and laid down out of the work path. The last thing you want is a gust of wind to ruin your day or the customer's furniture. Do not use handles or wheels that are on the furniture. Plastic wheels can snap when moved across rough areas or over thresholds. Handles on items other than suitcases can be torn off. Any of these items should be loaded on dollies and either wheeled out on our wheels or picked up and carried from the bottom of the piece, not by the handles. Document all items given to workers. Get a receipt. Customers, for many reasons, will give away furniture on the job. It may be to lighten the load or that they are replacing the piece of furniture. It may be an item such as a crib, a child's toy, exercise equipment, or anything else. If any mover or packer for that matter is given a piece of furniture belonging to the customer, a receipt needs to be filled out. The receipt will have the customer's name, the date, the item being given away, the worker's name, and the customer's signature. This receipt will stay with the move paperwork. Note pre-move damage. Inform the lead mover. Any damage found at the time of loading, either furniture or residence, needs to be brought to the attention of your lead mover. If the damage is almost hidden, do not take it out of the house. Get your lead person involved, point it out to the customer, and take photos. You don't want any confusion that this damage did not occur in the process of moving it out of the house. It is the same with residence damage. If you move a couch away from the wall and you see there is a hole in the wall, stop. Get your lead mover and straighten it out immediately. Don't lean items against the truck. Trucks move. They roll, they rock when walking in or out of them, and they may get pulled forward during the course of the move. Items leaning against the truck can scratch the paint on the truck. Items leaning against the truck can also run over and be crushed. Crushed items can flatten truck tires. Where are you left? This is not good for anyone. Don't lean items against the truck. Think safety. Plan and think ahead. Two-man pieces require teamwork. Almost anyone can move a one-man piece up the stairs. Two-man pieces require a lot more. Two movers working together for the first time need to communicate well. Describing changes in the position of the furniture, turns ahead, walking surface differences, even hand positions is critical. There might be banisters or low overheads in the residence. Physical features have a dramatic effect on how the piece will be handled. Do not take for granted that your coworker, who you have most likely never worked with before, will be doing exactly what you expect them to do. Before moving any two-man piece up or down any stairs, take a whole minute and discuss what is needed to get this piece moved safely. The process should go smoother after you have worked together for a while. Never assume you know exactly what the new person will do. Be honest and don't hide damage. Address damage and correct it. Your lead person is your best bet. Sooner or later, you will cause damage. You might rip something while carrying an item. You may try to force an item through a doorway. Regardless, you must own up to it. If no one sees you, get your lead person involved immediately. If your customer witnesses the damage, stop and own up to it. Now, go get your lead person. They will have more experience in assuring the customer that this will be taken care of in a manner that benefits them. Research has shown that when a negative situation is addressed promptly and in the customer's favor, there is a higher level of customer satisfaction regardless of the damage. Damage that is hidden, however, presents a situation that implies we are either incompetent or less than honest. Neither perception is good. Hidden damage will be found eventually, and nobody makes out in those situations. Don't try to catch falling furniture, ever. Accidents happen. Furniture falls. Let it go. It's a hard lesson to learn. Many experienced movers will automatically reach out to try and catch falling furniture. It is one of the primary ways movers get seriously injured. This could be the loss of fingers or toes, as well as a hurt back. There is not a single piece of furniture that's worth it. It's much easier to simply replace the damaged furniture than to deal with a serious injury that can end your moving career and leave you in pain for a great deal of your life. Blend in, follow directions, keep up with your coworkers, and don't walk around empty-handed. This can be a fun, stress-free work environment, but it's up to you. If you are willing to work to advance yourself, then your advancement is in your hands. Professional movers use moving equipment and other mechanical means to move the household goods that we transport. There are times we cannot use equipment. Sofas, for instance, are difficult to move with equipment. Certain work surfaces, such as gravel or dirt, do not work well with dollies. Residence conditions, like raised tile entryways and hardwood stairs, are prohibitive to hand trucks or appliance dollies. Therefore, you must learn to lift and carry safely. There are 7 different common carries used by movers. Before we move on to that, it's important that we stop and cover a few valuable things you'll need to do and consider prior to moving a single item. Remember, 43% of all moving injuries in the industry are a result of poor lifting habits and techniques. You should always stretch before any job or after any prolonged period of rest. This includes lunchtime, travel time, or any other extended break after you have been working hard and moving furniture. Start jobs by creating clear pathways out of the house and access to the larger furniture. Work small to start with for at least the first 15 minutes. The workers with larger muscle mass need to pay close attention to this practice, as do any movers who have had previous strains to large muscle groups. Nearly every job we do will require pathways through the residence, usually from the farthest point inside the house, through the house, out the front door, across the driveway, and into the truck, or vice versa at delivery. We must make an effort to create cleared pathways through the residence and through every doorway. Keeping this pathway clear of furniture, children's toys, moving equipment, pads, or debris is very important. Customers and their children may inadvertently leave shoes, toys, or other personal items in our path. We have to keep the customer on board with this philosophy. Two situations that can turn a good move bad in a hurry are children or pets. On move day, it is not unusual to have children around. Young children are often fascinated by large trucks. They get very excited with the prospect of strangers, big trucks, and equipment with all this activity. Children will get under your feet, and being little, they hide quite well. They're almost sneaky. Regardless, you must not stomp on them or smack them. Have your lead mover interact with the parents to keep them out of your way. On a different note, never be alone with a child in the room without a witness. In this day and age, it's too easy to have something negative mentioned involving the child. You don't want this to happen. Protect yourself. Customers often have pets. You will generally clear out an area first while the pet is secured in a different room or area, and then the pet will be put in that empty area. This should be clearly marked. Workers need to avoid using that room. When first meeting animals, especially with larger dog breeds, do not attempt to pet or reach your hand down around their mouth. No matter what your opinion is regarding dogs or specific breeds of dogs, they are rarely the same dog on moving day. Many illustrations show a person squatting down like a baseball catcher and picking up a box in front of them. The problem with this illustration is that the person has their posterior below their knees. Although this position saves the back, it will cause severe knee issues down the road. Instead, assume a position with your legs spread wider than your shoulders. Directly in front of the item you wish to pick up, lower your posterior until it is just above your knees. Then reach out to the item, putting both hands on top, and tilt the piece to one side. Slip your hand underneath the elevated side. Then, keeping your head up, lift with your legs and bring the item up above your waist. If the item has drawers, such as the nightstand, keep the drawers into your chest. If the item is a dresser, and this is a two-man piece, then keep the front of the dresser tilted up so the drawers remain closed. In either case, get your hands comfortably under the piece. Lift with your legs, not with your back. During the course of a move, weather can become a factor with concrete stairs that are painted walkways, walkboards, or any polished surface immediately inside the front door. When bad weather moves in, you may have to slow down on these surfaces. This also applies to using a hand truck or appliance dolly on stairs and ramps. You may need help from one of your coworkers, as trying to pull an item up may cause you to slip and fall. Think safely. People in urban and rural areas will have garages, basements, sheds, barns, and other areas around the house that may be home to some of them. When you are in these areas, be careful not to just stick your hand underneath items. Move them away from the wall. Stand it up off the floor and get a good look at it before you grab. Wipe off any spider webs or anything else that looks potentially dangerous. You find snakes in barns, sheds, or backyards. Don't be a victim. If you are bitten, report it immediately to your lead mover. Take no chances. These bites can have dire consequences if not addressed immediately. The points we have just discussed will come into play on a daily basis. Now we can move on to the basic carries. The one-man front carry is the most basic carry and is the method most new movers use when they come into the business. The challenge with it is that it has a tendency to block the mover's vision directly in front and below them. It also places additional strain on the lower back muscles. Therefore, most movers wrap their arms around the piece when they use this carry, creating a wider load to pass through doorways. Once you scrape enough skin off your elbow and knuckles, you might find that there are easier ways to carry items than the front carry method. Listen and learn. The long arm back carry can be used for cartons or small square furniture. It requires the use of another carton or piece of furniture to set the item on. Once the item is placed approximately 30 inches off the ground, the mover backs up to the piece, placing one arm backward over the top of the piece, then reaching back underhanded, grabbing the bottom front side with the other hand. This lift requires you to be limber. The advantage of it is that it keeps your arms inside the piece, creating a narrower load to pass through doorways, as well as freeing up your forward vision. The item is set down in a reverse fashion, backing up to another stable solid item and lowering it gently onto the set area. Additionally, the load is centered over your hips and your biggest muscle groups, reducing the strain on your lower back. This carry is similar to the long arm back carry. The set box or platform is still needed. The mover still backs up to the piece, but now employs a cotton strap to loop over the item while squatting down slightly. The slack is taken up with a simple granny knot tied over the arms and in front of the chest. It helps to exhale prior to tying this knot. Once you have a tight knot with your chest exhaled, inhale and stand from your slightly squatted position. You have now converted your load to a backpack. The technique for setting down the item is identical to the long arm back carry. The one-man hump strap carry has been around for years and has been predominantly featured by big city movers who routinely move customers into multi-floor structures with no elevator in the building. When you think about it, hump straps weigh approximately 1 pound. This means every time you take up your load, you have the weight of the load plus 1 pound. If you use a hand truck, you have the weight of the load plus the weight of the hand truck, which can weigh anywhere from 10 to 20 pounds. An average flight of stairs has 17 steps, which means every load you take up with a hand truck, you move an additional 170 to 340 pounds. The level 2-person carry is designed for items such as a double or triple dresser. It is generally a longer, lower profile item that requires 2 movers to carry safely. This item is picked up by the 2 movers facing each other. Each mover places hands on both sides of the dresser. Next, the dresser is tilted backward to keep the drawers from falling out, and raising the front of the dresser for an easier reach. Both movers squat slightly, keeping their hips above their knees. Reaching down and grasping the front of the dresser, they lift and bring the dresser up to their waist, setting the rear of the dresser on top of their thigh, then moving their hands from the back top of the dresser to the back bottom of the dresser. They should now have both hands underneath the dresser and ready to go. It is still a good practice to verify with each other that you are set and have a good grip. After all, you do not want to walk off before someone else has a solid grip on the furniture. The level of the 2-person carry may change angles when going up or down stairs, but it is still a level 2-person carry. Both movers will always face each other. One never turns his back and carries the piece behind him. The high-low carry is designed for taller items such as highboy dressers, bookcases, or any other item higher than 40 inches. Two movers approach the piece, facing each other. One mover will indicate to the other mover that they are going to top the piece, usually by saying, "Over to you." The mover tilting the furniture will end up with the low end, while the mover receiving the tipped end will have the high end. It is important to remember that the high-end mover will back up on flat ground or when going upstairs. The only time the low end backs up anywhere is when the piece comes downstairs. When the piece and the movers arrive to the point where the furniture goes, they will set the furniture piece down and verbally say, "Set." The same phrase applies to all two-man carries. This carry is identical to the previous carry, the high-low. The only difference is that a hump strap is used by the mover with the high end. With this carry, the mover who takes the high end tips the piece to the other mover and then loops the hump strap underneath his end. The other mover will then tip the piece back over to the high end. They will squat slightly and take up the slack of the hump strap with both hands. With the call coming up, the high-end mover stands up straight, arms extended, hump strap tight, and the low-end mover lifts the bottom of the piece high enough to raise it 4 to 6 inches off the ground. The mattress carry with a hump strap is used to make moving mattresses easier. Large mattresses can be difficult to grip when boxed or left unpacked. The mattress is laid on its side with the movers facing each other on each end. The mattress is then tilted slightly to one side and the hump strap is run underneath the entire length of the mattress. Each mover takes one end of the hump strap, squats slightly, takes up the slack with one hand, and then stands. They are ready to move this mattress. These are your basic carries. There are other tricks to learn with a hump strap, other strap systems, and other combination of hump strap and moving equipment. All of these carries will seem a little unnatural or uncomfortable at first. Give them a try a few times every day. Before long, you find that you work easier later into the day, with less stress and strain on your body. Moving equipment, if used correctly, can save time, energy, reduce injuries, and reduce claims. If used incorrectly, you waste time, which means wasted energy. Any accident or misuse of equipment usually results in injuries or damage. It is important that you understand the limitations of the equipment and the requirements for use. The most common piece of equipment used in the moving industry is the hand truck. There are several designs with different handles and different wheels. Some may convert to a platform-style dolly. We are going to focus on the standard two-wheel steel frame hand truck. The hand truck is used by one person, designed to move cartons and small furniture. Most agents will pad these hand trucks to allow safer use with furniture. They can be used to move small appliances with two movers, although some agents require the two movers to use an appliance dolly because of the appliance strap. Be aware this item can cause floor damage or damage to hardwood stairs. The appliance dolly is used for moving large pieces of upright furniture, including refrigerators, washers, dryers, and highboy dressers. Double or triple dressers that are padded and stood on end can also be moved with this piece of equipment. The appliance dolly has a wider blade design and not as deep as the hand truck. Also known as the reefer dolly, it has a locking ratchet and strap system, as well as two belted stair runner systems behind each wheel. The frame usually has a plastic or rubber type coating to prevent damage from rubbing. This is a two-man piece of equipment. One mover will operate the dolly, while the other helps support the weight, assists in turns, assists going up and down stairs, and generally aids in tilting and balancing the load. Do not leave the appliance dolly standing up alone. It is unstable and can fall on uneven surfaces. A slight breeze can even knock it over. 30 pounds of steel slamming on your toe will remind you why we do not leave it standing by itself. When not in use, the appliance dolly should be strapped off in the truck or laid down out of any working paths. The four-wheeler, or four-wheel dolly, is a platform-style dolly, usually with some type of rubber or carpet padding. This dolly will have a minimum of 2 swiveling or turning caster-style wheels. Most often, it will have 4 caster-style turning wheels. The first rule of the four-wheel dolly is that it is not a skateboard. This piece of equipment has a primary use for moving large, solid-base furniture on flat ground. Pianos are commonly moved with this piece of equipment. In fact, many movers call the four-wheel dolly a piano dolly. Of course, a true piano dolly is shorter in length and has large, non-swiveling wheels. Most carriers do not move enough pianos to merit purchasing this special piece of equipment, so they make do with the standard four-wheeler. The four-wheel dolly is generally a 2-man piece of equipment on household moves. It may be a 1-man piece of equipment on office and industrial moves. Not many people in the moving industry know what a Coulson dolly is, although most of us have used it many times. It is commonly called Big Red or Big Blue. A Coulson dolly is a larger version of the appliance dolly with a set of folding wheels to help support moving extremely heavy upright items, such as gun safes commonly found on household moves. This is a 3-man piece of equipment and is never left alone in the tilted back position. Proper manpower is vital to the safe use of this piece of equipment. Floor protection is also a must. The Coulson dolly may have a ratchet or tension-based strap system, and may have 2 such systems on its frame. With the Big Red design, you must also verify that the lock bar has slid into place before tilting your load back into the dolly. If the lock bar is not in place, the wheel carriage may collapse, and the entire load will fall on the mover operating this piece of equipment. The Big Blue version of this dolly has a similar design with a sliding axle. It is also much easier to verify. This is a serious piece of equipment. Anything you move with it will be heavy and very high dollar. In the moving industry, the walkboards are and can be used on any door as they are detachable. They have up and down ends. The up end has a lip with a slight downward angle. The down end maintains the same angle as the walkboard. Walkboards usually run from the truck to the ground, but can also go from the truck to a higher elevated level. Walkboards need to be inspected for smooth surfaces or steel side trim separation. This separation can grab shoelaces, and you'll find yourself being flipped off the walkboard, possibly with a load. You'll quickly realize it's in your best interest to secure that trim and report it to operations. Should you ever have a situation where your walkboard lands on a downward sloped driveway and the walkboard keeps falling off the truck, connect a long logistic strap inside the truck and run the strap all the way to the end of the walkboard. Leave the buckle just in front of the bottom edge of the walkboard and tighten the strap. The walkboard will hook on the buckle and should stay in place. This is an old car hauler's trick. One safety rule you want to keep in mind when using hand trucks or appliance dollies on walkboards: when going up the walkboard, always keep your dolly wheels below you. Back up the walkboard or walk down. Residence protection is by far one of the most important steps to help your customer relax, allowing the job to run smoothly. Residence protection, along with padding furniture in the home performed prior to any moving, tells the customer, "We are professional, we are concerned about your home and how your move will come out." Nothing will instill customer confidence quicker than these two steps. confident customers stay out of your way. The confident customer also rewards good service. Let's discuss 3 basic forms of residence protection. Several types of floor protection are available for the floors you will encounter. The most common floor protection involves the use of a rubber-backed rug runner. They come in many colors and are commonly purchased by the foot. Most professional carriers carry anywhere from 150 to 200 feet of this protection on each of their vehicles. Rug runners are good for hardwood floors, carpet, tile, and marble, as long as you are not moving very heavy items over them. If you have marble or tile floors and you have a piano to move, Masonite is the preferred floor protection, with the Masonite laid over rug runners. With this, you have solid support for your piano, gun safe, or whatever heavy piece you might be moving. Carpet mask is a wonderful option for carpet and in particular carpeted stairways. All moving equipment should stay on this floor protection. In a pinch, movers have used cardboard from mattress and mirror cartons. Be aware though, cardboard can slip on carpet like a banana peel. It can also leave scratches on polished hardwood floors. Most moves will pass through the front door of any residence. Other doors may also be used, but none are as expensive as the front door. The front door is also the area seen by most every customer every day of their life. We take measures to protect that entry point. The original method of door protection was to drape a pad over the top of the door, then slip a rubber band over the top of the door and bring it as low as halfway at the front edge of the door, and then to the top hinge at the rear of the door. An additional pad was tucked under the rubber band and wrapped completely around the front of the door and as far as it would go behind the door. There is now a door pad on the market that simply hangs and attaches by Velcro. Either method will work and convey to your customer that you consider their residence worth protecting. Some movers have removed the door, but this can present another challenge. Where do you put the door to keep it safe? Padding is much easier. We also have a specialized piece of equipment which consists of a pad with 3 spring C-shaped clips called a door jamb protector. It is very easy to use. Simply pry open the clips and attach the protector to the height you wish to cover on the door jamb. We recommend from the ground up, as dolly wheels are prone to leaving scratches and gouges 6 inches from the bottom of the door jamb. When moving in a residence that has multiple floors, you will often find decorative wood banisters. These banisters require protection by padding all surface areas. Be careful to avoid getting any tape adhesive on the polished surface. This is very simple. Place a pad over the rail at the top of the stairwell, keeping the pad tucked all the way under the top rail tape under the pad and inside the railing. Next, add another pad overlapping the bottom of the first pad and tape. Continue this process all the way down to the bottom of the banister. Combine this process with carpet mask and you have secured your pathway. All furniture prior to being moved needs to be wrapped. It should remain wrapped until delivered to the destination. Traditionally, 2 movers would walk into the house, pick up the dresser, and carry it out to the truck, out of sight of the customer. There, they would wrap it and load it. The newer method is for each mover to take 2 pads and 2 hand trucks into the house. They each pad a large piece of furniture, such as a highboy dresser and a triple dresser, securing each padded piece with tape or rubber bands. Then each mover takes 1 piece out on their hand truck. Neither mover had to carry anything, and they've gotten 2 pieces out of the residence at the same time they would have only gotten 1 piece out. Customers need to witness the care you take in handling their household goods. By wrapping these in front of them with clean pads, you will achieve 2 goals. First, you reduce claims, as the customer has never seen their furniture handled without padding. And second, By padding the furniture, you have made it easier to dolly or wheel it in and out of the residence. Wrapping inside can also increase your efficiency. For instance, you could also wrap a one-man piece, put it on a dolly, placing stacks of cartons on top of it. Wheels beat heels, right? So let's move on and talk about the different ways to wrap furniture. The diaper wrap is a version of the burrito wrap used in packing. Spread out a pad, then take a one-man piece of furniture, such as a chair, nightstand, end table, or some similar-sized item, and place it in the center of the pad kitty corner. Next, bring the two opposing corners over the piece and pull it tight. Take the other two opposing corners and bring them up over the piece. Tape or rubber bands are used to secure the pads. Remember not to overuse tape. The tape should go around the article until it reaches itself. In other words, tape to tape. Don't just go around and around. The tape will eventually have to come off the pads. You may have an item such as a rocking chair or a slightly larger style end table or nightstand that will require an additional pad over the top for diapering. This is a 2-pad diaper wrap. The same rules apply for tape. The full cover with a fold is commonly used to wrap shorter items, such as dressers, nightstands, desks, or items approximately 35 inches in height. This method can be used in tandem with the next style we will discuss. Begin by getting on the back side of the item. Unfold a pad, extending it in the air with both arms. Bring it all the way around to one end of the piece you are wrapping. Make sure the pad goes all the way to the floor. Always wrap your furniture from end to center. Next, repeat this action from the other end to the center. If there is any uncovered area at the front, simply cover from the ground up with a third pad if you need to, evenly over the first 2 pads. The pads should then be secured in place with rubber bands or tape. Again, be careful not to overuse tape. This style of wrap can also be used for single pad items, such as a nightstand, file cabinet, or similar items. Stand behind the piece, extending your arms with the pad in front of the piece, and pull the pad around it, covering the front and both sides, making sure the pad reaches the floor. Next, fold the pad across the top of the file and tuck the remaining pad behind the file. Secure it with bands or tape. After padding, prior to securing, you may wish to walk around the piece and give a few gentle tugs to make sure the piece is completely covered and all padding is square. If you are planning to use dollies to move padded furniture, you need to make sure all loose edges are secured to prevent binding up in the dolly wheels. Another method to move common items like dressers, refrigerators, or sofas through tight hallways or doorways is to stand them up on a pad and pull them along sled style. When doing this, stand the item up, leaving enough excess pad to pull all the way under the piece. Next, with the longer end to the front, one man pulls the entire piece while the other mover pushes and the piece slides along to where you need it to go. The top cap with a belly wrap is commonly used with taller items, such as armoires, bookcases, highboy dressers, refrigerators, or any other items exceeding 35 inches in height. The first rule to this method is always pad from the top down. Secondly, on extremely tall pieces, check the top for hidden items prior to padding. Using an armoire as an example, center one pad over the top of the chest, then secure with tape or bands. Next, bring another pad from the ground up and bring it all the way to one side. Secure it with tape or tuck it under the previous band on the top pad. Repeat this process from the undercovered side, again making sure the pad goes all the way to the bottom. Your piece should now be completely covered on all finished sides. Complete by adding an additional rubber band or tape near the dresser base, 6 inches above the floor. Your piece is now ready to dolly out the door. Taller, longer items, such as entertainment centers, may require 2 pads for the top cap padding, which consists of 2 pads used in the full cover with a fold method, and then multiple pads or the belly wrap to reach the floor. It may take multiple movers to hold and position these pads while being secured. Many customers will have a hide-a-bed or sofa sleeper. Whether it is being shrink-wrapped or simply padded, it needs to be secured or tied off prior to moving. Failure to secure the mattresses in a hide-a-bed may result in the bed unfolding when the sofa is tilted or knelt forward to fit through a doorway. If this happens, serious injury may occur to movers, particularly their hands. Tying off a sofa is fairly easy and takes just a moment. First, locate the mattress handle by flipping up the cushions. Next, unroll 10 feet of shrink wrap and fold it in half to create a thick length, approximately 5 feet long. This plastic rope is then inserted downward through the handle and pulled out from under the couch and tied in a double granny knot in the front of the sofa. Shrink wrap is incredibly strong and sterile by nature. Rope or thick, strong twine can also be used, but must have padding between itself and the front of the sofa. Not all hide-a-beds may have a hole for a handle. If this is the case, use your tie-off material at each end of the front metal trim in the sofa bed frame and sofa front frame. Upon completion, give it several pulls to see if you can get the sofa open. Be very careful with these pieces. Your sofa sleeper is now ready to shrink wrap or pad per company policy. See your lead person if you have any questions. One item commonly found on moves is upholstered furniture. It is often referred to as OS, which is short for overstuffed. OS is a common description for sofas, love seats, recliners, large occasional chairs, and footstools. Most agents that move OS furniture will use stretch wrap or shrink wrap to help keep the material clean. First, place the sofa on 2 cartons to raise it off the floor. This enables you to wrap the bottom section of the sofa much easier. The skirt or bottom trim is raised while the stretch wrap is tied around one of the sofa legs, and then the mover begins circling the sofa while applying the wrap from the bottom up. The vertical surfaces are covered first in the circular pattern, and then a back and forth pattern is used to cover the horizontal or actual seating area. At the completion of the horizontal coverage, one final circle is performed to seal the edges of the horizontal application. This sofa is now ready to be handled. Of course, it will still require padding in the load. With OS, there are a couple of points to remember. Number 1. See your operations manager before you load any cartons onto your sofa prior to wrapping with stretch wrap. This is a common practice with some contractors, but may be frowned upon by your agent. Number 2. Some upholstered furniture must be padded prior to stretch wrapping. For instance, all forms of leather can sweat if shrink wrapped directly. Velvet or velour surfaces can also suffer damage to their nap or pile if stretch wrap is applied directly. Some agents require no shrink wrap to be used, or the piece would be paper padded prior to wrapping with shrink wrap. OS furniture is one of the most common high-dollar claims filed, as well as appliances, and needs to receive special care when being handled. You should familiarize yourself with your company's policies regarding the handling of these items. The important thing here is the customer. Their perception is all that matters. They need to be confident in the way their furniture is being treated. Proper, timely padding performed in front of them with clean pads and in combination with residence protection shows a willingness to perform a higher quality of service than the customer expects. Your ratings improve, your tips go up, and your claims go down, keeping your operations manager happy. Oftentimes during a move, furniture must be disassembled for various reasons. These include ease of loading, increased density, or the pieces simply cannot support its own weight during the move. The following rules come into play. Number 1. Anything we take apart has to be put back together. When this order is delivered, someone on the team there will have to make a reasonable attempt to put it back together. Make it easy. Number 2. Disassembly of an item is the driver's decision. The driver or lead person makes all decisions on what is disassembled and by whom. This person is also in charge of where the hardware goes with all disassembled items. Number 3. All hardware should be reattached if possible. As furniture is taken apart, screws go back in the holes. Nuts and washers go back on the bolts. Number 4. If hardware cannot be replaced or reattached, such as pins for shelving in bookcases, put all of this hardware in a plastic bag or envelope and seal it. Next, label it, indicating where the hardware came from. Hardware packages should either be assigned to a parts carton or a specific furniture item. Whichever method is used, the customer needs to be informed of this. This method should also be noted somewhere on the paperwork, preferably highlighted on the inventories on the initial page. Finally, we are not allowed to disassemble certain items. Carriers will have different rules, but over the years, these common items include swing sets, complex cabinet systems, exercise equipment including universal gyms, draining of waterbeds, grandfather clocks, and unhooking appliances, especially gas dryers. See operations if you have any questions in regards to company policy concerning disassembled items. This ends your basic mover lesson. We hope it has been instructive and helps you progress in the moving industry. You still have much to learn, but now you have a good working knowledge of the basics. If you would like more training from Thomas & Moving Training, many other titles are available, such as Inventory, Loading Storage Vaults, Office Move Equipment and Etiquette, Van Loading and Tier Building, as well as more advanced titles such as Lead Man Training and Estimating. Please visit movingtraining.com to find out more, as well as order online. Thanks again, and good luck.